What is going on, YouTube? I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Today we're doing a somewhat different video, a little bit more fun video, laid back, casual video, and it's going to be how carried by your main god are you? So basically, how good is your main god and how good does it make you look? Carried heavily, basically your god's almost always been OP and it's making you look good. You're a bad player who plays an OP god. Somewhat carried means you're playing a stronger god, but like you're not doing too bad. You're okay. Skilled is basically the baseline tier. You're playing an average god and you're making them look good. This tier is your back is probably sore from carrying your main. Your character is usually pretty bad and you make them look pretty good. Nice. This one is you're making David look like Goliath. Basically, why are you playing this character? Because they are terrible, but you're still making it look good. Those are the tiers. Starting off with Achilles. Most of the time, Achilles is carrying you. Let's be honest. This character's a lot of the time been pretty strong. You're somewhat carried. Agni, for the most part, he's almost always been your back is probably sore. But I think he's kind of came up into this average tier. He's still a character that requires a little bit, so we'll throw him there. AMC, you're carried heavily. Mickey God, you actually should not main this character because he's so easy. Opwash. If you main Opwash and you're doing stuff, you're definitely making David look like Goliath. Amaterasu. I think we have to throw Ama in the your back is probably sore from carrying because she's not always been that great and she's not usually a character that players main. So your back is probably sore from carrying a pretty mid-tier character. On her, you're, again, making David look like Goliath. Why are you playing this character? He's really bad right now, but if you're owning with him, you're nuts. Anubis, is he a carried heavily or is he a somewhat carried? I feel like he's a somewhat carried because you have to be decent. You have to know some matchups. But he's definitely a god that's usually carrying you. You're not looking good on your own with this one. Wukong, I feel like this one is like 90% of the time you're carried by this character. Somebody locks this character in ranked, you just know that they're getting carried by this character. Afro, are you the 18-0 Afro? Or are you the 0-0-18 Afro? 0-0-18 Afro, all the way up here. 18-0 Afro, you're all the way down here. I think we see this one more often. So we'll throw her in the carried heavily tier. Apollo. Before this year, he was a little bit lower, but I think right now, he's a mid-tier character. If you're carrying with him, you're looking good. Arachne, you're carried by the character. Next. Ares. I think Ares is in a good spot right now, but I also think he is a little bit more skilled, so I don't think people play him as much. So I'm going to put him in just your skilled. No, we're going to throw him in your Bacchus. That's where we're putting him. Because he's strong, but he's also a bit harder to play. So if you're carrying with him, you deserve it. Artemis, this is the pinnacle of David right here. You're making him look like Goliath if you're winning. Ardeo. I wonder where I'm going to put the spammy bear abilities are up. Let's use them character. Carried heavily. You're winning lane probably 99% of the time you play this. And then in late game team fights, your team's just stomping. Athena, people main this character. Maybe. We'll throw her in your back is probably sore. Because this character's not very good. But I feel like if you're good with the character, you can make her look really good. Atlas. Average tier. Average tier. So for the one person maining Atlas out there right now, you're a good player. You're a good player. I can tell. I can tell. Willix, you're definitely carrying with this character. You're making David look like Goliath because this character is not too good. The Hydra's buff does help, but you're making David look like Goliath. Baba Yaga. I don't know why people hate playing this character so much. I know she's a bit funky, but she's pretty good. We're throwing in your skilled because she's definitely not a bad character. She's probably not carrying you because there's still like a lot of stuff you have to know about her, but you're probably a skilled player. Bacchus. I feel like all Bacchus mains are Joust players, and so I think they're just somewhat carried because this character is absolutely bonkers in Joust. Bacca. This character is terrible. I actually think this character's got to have one of the lowest play rates in Smite. I'd put money down. Not too much. Maybe like $1.50. You're making David look like Goliath. Terrible character. Baron, same thing. You're making David look like Goliath. Bastet, carried heavily. 100% carried heavily. Terrible. You're terrible if you play that character. Bellona. Before this Death Toll meta, I think I would have put her down here. But I think with Death Toll, I think we're going to put her in your skilled. If you're doing well with this character, you're a skilled player. You're a skilled player. Don't let him get to you. I think Cab is a somewhat Mickey god. Because I feel like most people play this character. They build either full damage and they just one-shot you and you're like, where did my health bar go? Or they're building semi-tank, semi-damage and you're like, where the heck did my health bar go? Why isn't this guy dying? No, those are the two things. We'll put him in somewhat carried. Cama, he's literally been OP his almost his entire like lifespan. Ever since his jump was buffed to like that tiny like half-inch jump to this missile launcher out of a missile. Yeah. Ever since then, OP. Serb kind of had the same thing as Cama, but then they nerfed his 2 really badly. I think he's in a pretty bad spot right now. You're probably carrying him. Same with CERN. You're probably carrying this character. I mean, you probably should just play a different hunter, but if you're winning with this character and it's your main, you're probably carrying him. Chalk. Right now, he's probably pretty Mickey, but we're going to throw him in somewhat carried. Because through your lifetime playing Chalk, he's never been good. And you're still playing Chalk. Every day, 8 o'clock wakes up, or 8 o'clock, you got to go slam the rank queues, and you're slamming Chalk. Respect. But you are somewhat carried because of how strong he is right now. Chang'e. Tank Chang'e all the way up here. Full damage mid lane Chang'e, probably somewhere here. We'll throw her in somewhat carried. But she could easily be moved into carried heavily tier. Charybdis, skilled player. If you play this character, you can make her look good, you're a skilled player. Same with Churn. Same with Chiron, honestly. Triple Hunter, all same spot. Kronos, if you're making this character look good, boy, you are built different on this game. You should be paid to play this game. Cleo, carried by the character. OP. Cthulhu, I think he's a pretty mid-tier character right now. Late game, you get to that spot where you just start carrying, but early game, you kind of feel terrible and you're losing every fight. Probably your blue buffs are getting invaded. So he's like at 50-50. Cullen. Right now, Cullen is actually David turning into Goliath because his base form is dreadful, but his enhanced rage form is OP. But I think you're just in your base form too much that this character has just got to be at the bottom half. We'll put him in your back's probably sore. Cupid. I hate that character. Little dodgy. You're probably carried by this character, but I think right now we'll put her in somewhat carried. Because through most of her career, she's been pretty good, but I think right now she's kind of on an average to below average spot. Dan's, I feel like a lot of these hunters are just like not OP. We'll put him in your skilled because I think he's a little stronger than like most hunters. He's easy to play, so we're going to throw him there. Disco. I don't think anybody really mains Disco, but she's very easy to play. We'll put her in your skilled because I don't think she's like carrying you. And I don't think you're carrying her, really. She's like average. Erlang, Mickey. You're getting carried by your character, let's be honest. E-set. Support E-set is you're getting carried heavily. Mid E-set with genetics tank E-set build, you're somewhat carried. Mid lane, full damage. David looking like Goliath. We'll throw her in probably your skilled. Because I think through most of her career, she's been pretty meh. Sometimes she's been meta. But she's kind of fluctuated like up and down the tier list. Mickey God. You just run to objectives and ult. Don't act like you're doing anything special. Speaking of Mickey, probably if there was a tier list of Mickey gods through their entire Smite career, Fenrir gotta be like top 5, right? Like top 5, guaranteed. Freya somewhat carried. Pretty terrible right now. Easy to play though. And then late game, she just one-shots you. So I think you're still somewhat carried by this one. I'm gonna need to make a tier for Mario. Because I don't know who's playing this god. You guys love Ganesh so much. You're probably skilled if you're playing Ganesh. I'll be honest, Mario. It's about damn time. Gab, you're getting carried. No other way to look at it. You're getting carried. Gil, getting carried. I think Guan is you're making David look like Goliath. He's very... Since he got, like, nerfed back in, like, Season 3, Guan's rarely been played. He had a little resurgent. I think it was Season 6 or something, but right now you're making David look like Goliath. Hachiman, somewhat carried. This character is just too easy to play, and he does a lot of damage. He's just, like, really simple. If you're, like, new to the ADC role and you need a character to just lock in and just feel good most of the time, Hachiman. Hades, carried heavily. Hebo right now is David. There's, like, sometimes he, like, comes up and then goes back down. We'll put him in here making David look like Goliath because he's definitely not OP. He's definitely pretty bad right now. Heim. Because I think Heim takes some skill to play, I will put him in your skilled. But I think if you start to understand how to play Heim, he's a Mickey character. Hell. I think Hair's another one where you're carried by your character. She is so easy and just so much upside to her. We're throwing all the way up there. Hercules, somewhat carried. I'll be honest. Somewhat carried. Horus, you're definitely skilled if you're maining Horus. If you're maining Horus, playing Horus, you're skilled. Because he's decently easy to play, but his payoff isn't that high. Who are you, Mickey character? You guys literally close your eyes, shoot your arrow at the wall, it triple bounces and somehow stuns me. I don't know what's happening, but Mickey character. Hunbot's another Mickey character. Is another Mickey character. Janice. I feel like I have to put Janice towards the bottom half because he's so difficult to play for newer players and like mid-level players. So we'll put him here. But once you understand him, he's carried heavily by the character. Jing. Making David look like Goliath. This character is not easy to play and there's no payoff of playing her. Yorm. Character is not easy to play and there's no payoff of playing him. Kali, you're getting carried. Sorry. Sorry. Kepri, you're carried somewhat. You're carried somewhat. He's pretty decently easy to play, but his ult payoff is somewhat high. So I'll put him in somewhat carried. But I do think his ult is the one thing keeping him from carried heavily. Arthur currently is a you're skilled. If you can play Arthur, you're skilled. Because one, he kind of just spams abilities, which makes him like kind of more towards the top. But the payoff isn't really there because it's not like you're playing for anything. His mid game is okay. His early game is meh. His late game is like okay. You're a skilled player. Cuckoo. He's very easy to play, but he's got like no payoff. So we'll put him in your skilled. Kumba, holy cow. Probably the lowest payoff in the game for hitting your abilities, but he's super easy to play. Kuzumbo, before they nerfed Thorns, he was definitely carried heavily, but right now I think somewhat carried is a safe spot. Loki is the pinnacle right now of carried heavily by the character. Medusa, same thing. She's probably the most Mickey hunter. Do you have another hunter up here? Hu Yi? Izza? Medusa probably beats out Hu Yi, but probably not Izza, but it's close. Mercury, you're making David look like Goliath. This character is also a lot of fun to play. He's kind of like the pentakill, like one of the few pentakill gods. And he's really fun to play, and I don't think he's that easy also. The ults are kind of weird. Merlin currently is your skilled, but he's been up here a lot of time. Same with Morgan. She takes a good amount of skill, a good amount of positioning. Her abilities aren't that easy to hit, but she has a lot of self-peel, which is nice. Mulan, somewhat carried. She's kind of fluctuated between really OP, really bad, really OP. Actually, she was mostly just really bad. Now she's really OP, and she's kind of came down a little bit. But I think her damage is obnoxious. You're kind of getting carried by her. Neith, probably in the middle, the second middle tier. She's not very good, but her payoff's okay. But Naja down here quick. Nem, I think, is another just very, very Mickey character. Easy to play, so much payoff. Nike is kind of the same way, but the payoff isn't as high as Nem. Okay, now we came across a road. To the left leads Tank Nox with full cooldown in an arena. To the right leads Alpha Chad mid lane Nox with some cooldown, but mostly you're just good at the game, so you want to play Nox. But you don't want to be called a Nox abuser because of those arena mains. And I took the right path, just so you guys know. So we're going to put Nox, and you're making David look like Goliath because we took the right path. Nuwa, Mickey character. You're just ulting, man. You're not doing anything special. Come on. Come on. Same with Odin. You're just ulting, man. You're unkillable. Oleron's somewhat carried. I think he's OP right now, but he's also kind of hard to play. So somewhat carried. And Osiris is in this mid tier because he's very, very strong right now. But he's also somewhat hard to play. Because if you don't hit your auto attack cancels, kind of wow, wow, 1, wow, wow, 2, wow, wow, 3, wow, wow, 1, then you're not gonna be feeling very well. Pele, let's go out 1. Pele, somewhat carried. Definitely somewhat carried. Same with Purrs, because most of Purrs' career has been very, very Mickey with her passive. So we're putting her in somewhat carried. Poseidon, you've got to, your back, like if you're still manning Poseidon, your back has got to be tired by now, man. Character is, even in comp games, why? You know? Does he win? I don't think so. Raw, if you're a Raw that heals the wave, right here. If you're a Raw that builds full damage, probably here. Rama, you're making David look like Goliath, man. Keep it up. Oh, I miss old Rat. I miss the Rat that could dash through people. You're skilled. He's pretty bad right now. His acorns, ever since they removed boots, his acorns have felt terrible to build. I don't know if it's just me, but they just don't feel good. Robin, Mickey. Scylla is your skilled. Definitely your skilled. Tank Circuit right here. Jungle Circuit with like Yone's crit all the way down here. Take your pick. I think since it's built more, we're putting her up here. Set, somewhat carried. Somewhat carried. He's somewhat difficult to play, but he's also very easy once you understand that you just 3 before you ult, and then just spam your 1 and your 2. Then he's easy. Scotty, I don't even want to put her on the list. Remove Scotty. Her and Baka got to be the 2 lowest win rates, or play rates. Your back is probably sore, man. I don't know. So back, you're carried. Come on, man. Hit Pluck, win the game. Soul, hit the tower, win the game. Wukong. I know he's easy to play, but the payoff isn't great right now. There's no real reason to play him. His build is, I guess, okay. Your back might be a little sore, though. Your back might be a little sore. Susano is probably towards the top. Somewhat carried. Sylv, this is like, we need a new tier. Alpha, handsome, so cool and tall. There it is. Terra, Mickey, man. Just click 4. Thanatos, got Alpha. You're Alpha. Not alpha, handsome, cool, and tall, but like alpha. Morgan, we'll put her in the middle tier. Nah, alpha, somewhat, no. She's like somewhere around here, but we're going to throw her in your skilled. You're an okay player if you main her. Or, this might be the only other character that belongs in this tier. Mickey. Oh, alpha. You're making David look like Goliath. Same with Vamana. Uller is you're skilled. Because he's very strong, but his payoff is also okay. It's not great. But if you can get ahead on Uller, you look nuts. So I think we'll put him in your skilled because you got to get ahead first. Vulcan, you're making David look like Goliath. X-Ball, you're making David look like Goliath. Shing, you're somewhat carried. I don't think the character's that great right now. I also think Yamoja is kind of difficult to pay. Even though her payoff is insane, she's probably one of the harder characters in the game. So we'll put her in somewhat carried. Ymir, you're making David look like Goliath. Zhong, David looking like Goliath. Zeus says he is currently your skilled. Okay? Nah, we'll put him in somewhat carried because his kit's OP right now. And then to end it off, because he's a new character, he probably belongs up here because nobody knows how to play against him. I don't think we can put him in either of these two tiers because they're perfect right now. So I think you're skilled. Yeah, you're skilled if you play Shiva and you main Shiva, but you're probably carried heavily by the new character because all their new characters are really bloated, but they're fun to play. So like they at least get some players that kind of main the characters, but you know, we'll put them in your skilled because it fits best that way. There it is. The carried by your god tier list. I guess it doesn't really work just for your mains. It's just for if you play a character a lot. Like if you're playing a lot of AMC, like if you see this is your god pool, do you really belong in your tier? Do you really belong in Diamond? If you're picking Odin every time you're in solo, you're locking in hell in mid lane, Circuit support, building full tank, and maybe take a look in the mirror. An extra long look in the morning. And if you're playing these characters and you're in Diamond, why? Why are you playing these characters? Like I know you just want these bad. You just want to be that much better. Because you're picking Opwash in mid first pick with 90 billion counters in the game. I understand. I do it all the time too. I lock in Kumba. I lock in Yorm. Not Cupid because he's boring. But a lot of those characters, I play them. I understand. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya.